everybody, thank you for joining me today. Today is going to be all about the pleaser and the vacillator core pattern. What does it look like? What happens when these two get together? They're both anxious attachment styles. The pleaser being a little bit more fearful and anxious and apprehensive, and the vacillator being a little bit more preoccupied and ambivalent and a little bit more prone to anger or moodiness. So when these two get together, it is a combustion, it is a dynamic. So I want to get into that today. Stay tuned. All right, for those of you who are new here, please hit the subscribe button so you can get new alerts. And if you find any of the information here relevant, please consider sharing it. My name is Sandy. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and I help couples understand their childhood wounds inside of the dance of a relationship through the lens of attachment theory. All right, so today is going to be all about the pleaser and the vacillator core pattern, the core cycle, the core dance. All right, so this is a circular pattern that happens in conflict. Okay, this is not all the time, but this is when they're in conflict. So typically the vacillator will start off the conflict not because they're the bad person in the relationship. It's because they're more likely to speak up about something, to be honest about something, and the pleaser is likely not to be honest about it. Pleasers fear conflict, right? So they're gonna hide how they feel about something. Vacillators will speak up about something right away. And vacillators will build up intention like a pressure cooker, like I've mentioned in previous videos. And vacillators' MO is to idealize. They idealize and project on the sort of the best outcome, the best case scenario of whatever it is, whether it be the relationship, their job, the upcoming trip, or whatever's going on. They will idealize something and really think about it, ruminate, and it keeps them hopeful and resilient and positive, thinking about the idealized version of something. Here's the problem with that. Whenever you idealize something, there's bound to be disappointments along the way because not everything can turn out ideal, right? So vacillators don't give a whole lot of room for reality and disappointments. And sure enough, when they project idealism, at some point there will be some disappointment, and that's when the vacillators' anxiety and tension will build because they're trying to achieve this idealized, romanticized outcome, and they don't always achieve it. Something else that keeps them, in an anxious state is being preoccupied with the relationship, really focused on how close we are, how distant we are, and does my pleaser, really like me? Are they really connecting with me? Are they just telling me what I want to hear? Because pleasers tend to be very nice people, and they tell you what you want to hear. They're very into harmony and making everybody happy. So pleasers will tend to give the vacillator what they want to hear, not actually what they really think or feel. And the vacillator will pick up on this, and this might go into their thoughts, the vacillator's thoughts, and they'll ruminate about this and wonder, what's going on? Is this a real connection? Okay, and there's other reasons why vacillators are anxious, and it could be because they feel that the pleaser is not necessarily in agreement with them. They're just conceding or submitting to the vacillator's wants and needs, and vacillators want the pleaser to connect organically and authentically, and they don't want anyone to just tell them what they want to hear. They want to hear the truth from the pleaser, and this can also cause some anxiety. And then when the anxiety builds up to a point, what I mentioned, the pressure cooker in a past video of a way to describe vacillators, when they're reaching that steaming point where the pressure's coming out, they will vent out their frustrations with maybe complaints, maybe a bad mood, maybe accusations or assumptions about the pleaser's motives. As a result of the vacillator's venting process or explosion or outburst, it comes in many forms. It could be an outburst, straight up anger. It could be a moodiness where they're sort of cold shouldering you, or just moody or brooding, or it could be complaints or accusations about maybe topical things, maybe house chores or something like that. But the vacillator is actually wanting to be connected with and on a deep level. But as a result of this outburst or venting process, the pleaser receives that energy and they are panicked. They might freeze. They might lie to avoid conflict. They might tell you what you want to hear. They may minimize the vacillator's accusations and put a positive spin on the vacillator's complaints. The pleaser will say things like, well, hey, why are you so mad at me? I've done this for you. I've done this for you. I've done that. I've done that. You know, what could be wrong here? I'm doing my pleaser thing, and you're supposed to be happy with my efforts. Where the vacillator is needing something else. They don't want to be placated, which is what they feel is happening. They want to have a true, authentic connection with the pleaser, but the pleaser is very focused on performance and what they've done in order to receive, approval from the vacillator. So at this point, the pleaser's pretty anxious, very worried about the vacillator's anger, and thinks that the vacillator should just be pretty satisfied with their niceness, their efforts, and all of the good things they've done. So after the pleaser has attempted to appease the vacillator is not happy because the vacillator is seeking connection and validation and maybe ownership, accountability from the pleaser, which the pleaser is having a difficult time with because they are seeking reassurance and approval. They feel very threatened that the vacillator may get rid of them or doesn't like them anymore or is unhappy with them. And pleaser's main number one need in a relationship is to have approval. They need approval that I am good enough, that you're satisfied with me. This is what gains acceptance for them, that the vacillator is accepting of their efforts. However, what the pleaser is missing at this time is the ability to connect emotionally on a deep level. They're very surface and performance focused, with the deeds and the favors and running around, scurrying around, doing nice things. So as a result, the vacillator will escalate, and this does not calm down the vacillator. The nice behaviors or the pleaser pointing out the good things they've done will not calm down the vacillator at all. It'll in fact increase their irritation because they believe the pleaser is manipulating them. It feels manipulative, it feels placating, it feels like the pleaser is really avoiding the issue and focusing on all the good things they've done. And the vacillators really want to be understood, and they just want the pleaser to take accountability for the bad feelings that the vacillator has at this time. Well, as you can see, it sounds confusing, and both people are not on the same page. They're both talking about two different things. The vacillator's saying, hey, connect with me. I want you to take accountability. Do you understand how that behavior made me feel? And the pleaser is very focused on, there's no way you can be mad at me because I have done all these things for you, so you should be happy with me. And these are completely opposite things that each other are needing. The pleaser seeking the approval and the vacillator seeking connection, but it's not happening. So at this point in the cycle or the pattern, I want to pause to interpret or uncover what each spouse is probably feeling in the moment. So the vacillator feels pretty empty and lonely without a passionate connection. They do not respect their spouse. It feels annoying to the vacillator that the pleaser tries to please them with things they don't even care about. Other people see the pleaser as a very nice person. You're so lucky to have this person. You're so lucky to be married to this person. But the vacillator's like, no. Everybody thinks I'm married to the greatest person, but if they only knew what it was like to live with this person sugarcoats things, they don't follow through, they're forgetful, they do things I don't even ask, it doesn't even matter to me, they're not prioritizing. So this is how the vacillator is feeling, or the complaints they have. They also say things like, I've told my spouse what I need specifically, very clearly, but I don't get what I need. They don't respond to that. It's like they don't hear me. Okay, so that's how the vacillator feels. And they feel like, yeah, I'm angry. Anyone would be angry in my position. You don't even know. You know, that's the vacillator. Now, the pleaser feels like this. They feel like they're walking on eggshells. Nothing they do ever seems right for the vacillator. The vacillator feels like a bottomless pit for the pleaser, like the target continues to move. The pleaser has a hard time keeping up with the idealizations of the vacillator or what the vacillator wants. No matter how hard I try, it's never enough. The pleaser feels I never know what to expect. It can be really good or suddenly it's very bad, and I cannot predict what's good or bad. The pleaser also feels I can't understand why the little things make my partner so reactive and mad. I just don't get it. I think I do all the things they want me to do. The pleaser also thinks and says, other people appreciate me way more than my spouse does. Everybody else likes me but my spouse. The pleaser might also think in their mind, if I left the marriage, my spouse would know just how good they have it. So you can see from the pleaser's position, they believe performance and doing tasky things and favors is how to connect with their vacillator. But as we know, vacillators want authentic, deep, passionate, emotional connection, and not necessarily this behavior-driven connection. So as this cycle continues, it's just really more of the same. It's going to get pretty intense in the peak of the cycle, the circle, where the vacillator's really, really, really upset. They are beyond upset, and they'll say things very in absolute terms, such as, I can't do this anymore. I'm over it. I'm done. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. They'll say these absolute statements that sound extremely threatening to the pleaser. The pleaser takes this very literally, not understanding that the vacillator is in their feelings and adrenaline is running through the vacillator's body. So the pleaser will take this very literally and seriously. But in the moment, the vacillator is very serious about what they're saying, but at the same time, when they calm down and the adrenaline has left their body, they don't follow through because they have this optimism, and they don't want to give up because they also have abandonment issues, so they're not going to give up that easily. But in this peaking moment, the vacillator feels really, really abandoned, misunderstood, invalidated, and very hopeless. That's why they're saying these absolute sort of threatening statements. And as a result of that energy from the vacillator, the pleaser is feeling extremely anxious, very frantic, dejected. They feel hopeless. There's nothing I can do about it. I can never get it right. I can't figure this out. All right. And then meanwhile, after that discharge of emotions, the vacillator starts to calm down and is on a more of a level 4-5 irritation. So they're not as heated, but they're still in a negative space, and they might pout for a while and really just rethink the relationship and wonder if it's all worth it. And the pleaser is in the background sort of waiting for the vacillator to re-engage, wondering what just happened. They're not necessarily reflecting too much. They're just observing the mood of the vacillator. When the vacillator's mood has subsided, that's when the pleaser feels a little bit of relief and might scurry around and do nice things, be apologetic and promising things that will change. Unfortunately, sometimes the change never comes. Okay, so that's the cycle, and people are at the end of this cycle are pretty tired in this dynamic and have little energy to kind of revisit it. So it just kind of dissipates until it shape shifts into another topic, and the same issue will come up again in another topic. So let's say this fight started off because of laundry, and then we end this fight. Then we have a lull for a while, we have a pause, and then the same issue will reemerge in another topic. Maybe it's about the kids this time, or about sex, or some of the bills, but it's the same issue at the core level. Okay, so you see how that works? So that is the pattern for the vacillator and pleaser. It's very volatile, up and down. Anytime you have a vacillator in the mix, it's going to be exciting, and the other person is sort of reacting to the vacillator's upset and disappointments. Don't get me wrong, the vacillator does bring positivity to the relationship because they believe in the relationship, and they won't give up for a long time until they do, but it takes them a long time to give up. So there's some good with the vacillator, but this is the pattern. It's distressing for both, and I just wanted to introduce that to you today. But I'm going to do a follow-up video with how to overcome this for both people, because there is hope. You can overcome this. It just takes work. All right, but you can see it's definitely volatile and up and down. All right, that's all I have for this couple. Thank you for watching, and look for the follow-up video for the solution focused part of this dynamic. Okay, thank you for watching, and until the next video, aloha.